Hey everybody, my name is Jade Curtis. I am the host of BlackDoctor.org's newest video series, The Pulse. And I'm standing here with
Kwame Terra.
How you doing, Kwame?
I'm doing well.
You're a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
I'm excited you're here.
I'm excited too.
So can you quickly introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, so I'm Kwame Terra. I'm the CEO and founder of Bear Health. We're a startup company based in New Orleans, committed to maximizing health in the Black community. So our first goal is to communicate clearly to the Black community our current health status, and we do that through an app. So do you know your credit score?
I do know my credit score.
You know your health score?
No.
Right. So
I didn't know there was a health score.
exactly. Most of us don't, and that's part of why we created Bear Health. And so
Okay.
when you first download the app, you'll answer a few questions. How often do you eat 2 or more servings of fruits and vegetables per week? How often do you exercise and things like that? And then you'll get a score. That'll just be a snapshot of your current health status. And then every day, depending on how you change, your score will change. So if you go on a run one day, your score goes up a few points. Get 3 hours of sleep one night, your score goes down. And then based on those changes, you'll get messaging from our coach for how to improve, as well as connect with healthcare providers, resources, and experiences to help you elevate your health. And all of this goes into the Black Electronic Health Record, which is essentially a real-time health database of Black health insights that we use to inform and drive community health solutions.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. We love to see a Black founder. That's amazing,
Absolutely.
especially in the healthcare space.
Cool.
So can you tell me what are some of the things that go into that healthcare or health score?
Yeah, so we track over 100 different metrics across
Okay.
7 categories of health. So there's physical health, that's like your medical, so blood pressure, cholesterol, glucose, BMI, things like that, to really understand like your medical aspect of your health. Physical activity, so how many steps are you taking per day? How many workouts are you doing, per week? So on and so forth. Nutrition, mindfulness, sleep, and in all of each of these categories have different surveys where each survey question is a specific data point, right? So how often do you feel stressed or under pressure, right? So you'd say often, sometimes, never, rarely, right? And based on those points, you get a score in each category. So you have your overall score 0 to 1,000. Anything above 680 is considered excellent, meaning that you're doing well. Like you're aging, you could say at a slower rate, right? You're probably going to live a little longer than, say, the national average. But for those who have a score of 550 or below, you have fair or poor health score, which means that you have elevated health risks, right? So you may be more likely to develop hypertension, type 2 diabetes, things like that.
So on average, based on some of the users that you already have, how many users do you currently have?
Yeah, they're a little under 2,200 users.
Okay, nice. And on average, like what's the average health score that you're seeing so far?
Yeah, so since we started tracking it in December, the average health score started at 533.
Okay, and that's
in the fair range.
okay.
And so it's an elevated risk, but this is kind of the very beginning. We know that we're not doing great as it relates to our health in the Black community. So to start there, that wasn't like a big surprise for us, but it's good to just have that baseline and know where we are. And since then, in December, when we started tracking it, we've increased on average by about a point per month across the board.
Okay.
Right. So now we're at about 541 on average, which is about 9 points away from the good range. And so again, to be able to see that on a monthly basis, right, and a community level, right, not just on the individual level, it's just really encouraging to have that set, created a vision, and then be able to like witness it happening in real time. It's just, it's very fulfilling.
Yeah, for sure. And so I guess that leads me to wonder, like, obviously being able to see that and see like, okay, I could do better. Kind of like when you do see your credit score and you see that it's fair, and you're like, okay, let me do these little things to make changes. Let me send in that dispute letter or whatever.
Right.
So aside from that, are there things that you offer on the app, or is there like strategies, tips that you give to your users that can help them improve that score?
Yeah. So once you get your health score, you'll start receiving messaging from our automated coach. And this could be a message like, hey, this is your current health risk based on your score, or based on other users that are on the app that have that score, you may be at risk for these conditions. So that's one thing. And then we'll recommend that they connect with the provider to go kind of validate, their current health status, right? So go get your blood sugar checked, go get your health, blood pressure checked, just to make sure like you don't have one of these conditions or aren't like at risk. In addition to that, we connect people with like experiences. So as much as possible, I try to get away from this obsession over tracking. I know we're a whole health technology platform and we track over 100 different metrics. I track every aspect of my health pretty much every day. But if after I'm done with this work, I look outside and I see a bunch of people obsessing over their steps and their calories and all that stuff, I won't really feel like I have created a culture of health. But that's striking is pretty like, I don't know, it's like a mental disorder. I don't know, like to be obsessed to that extent. And so, but if I looked outside and I see a group of Black women walking together, in community, or family having a meal together at dinner or breakfast, right? Because we made that recommendation for them to do it, that would make me feel better, right? I'll be happy about having created that culture in our community or influence that culture in our community. Because when you look at all of these communities that live belong, it's like, I don't know if you're familiar with do zones, right? Places where people are living to above into the 100s on a regular basis. They're not like grinding it out in the gym, right? They're not like hopping in the cold plunge and then jumping in the sun. Like they're just eating with their family. They have purpose in their life. And so our goal as a company is to curate a health promoting life experience. And we need to track it so that we can make sure that, we know that we're improving. But I really want the app to be like a background feature. So the experiences that we start to curate through what we call Bear Connect, which is our event series, experience series, you'll have to have the app to access our experiences, right? So our run club meetups, our yoga sessions, our meditations, like all of the events and stuff that we curate based on what the community wants. And that way we know that everybody's on it. And now we're just measuring the impact of these interventions, because at the end of the day, that's the solution. The Black health problem isn't a technical problem, right? It's not like we don't need to develop some special technology to solve diabetes. We just need to create opportunities for people to change the way they live their lives so that we can regain a state of health and eliminate the disease.
Yeah. And so you talked about some of your in-person events. Where are you guys currently doing those?
So yeah, we're based in New Orleans. And so we do meetups. We have a one run club called Soul Running that we host weekly meetups on Sunday. We do hour of movement, so run or walk, get in where you fit in. And then we do yoga right after. And then sometimes we go to a smoothie shop right after. Again, so like we hit nutrition, we hit yoga, we hit, mindfulness, we hit movement. So again, and now it's like a whole family, right? That run club. And I'm sure you've seen this before with run clubs where it's just like people become best friends, and some people they go travel together after they met at run clubs. So that's real. Again, that's life. We want to create life for people. And we don't want to just get people obsessed with tracking their health.
Absolutely. And I'm telling you, like, I joined a run club and I hate running, but the community is what makes me keep coming back. And I'm like, okay, I could run this mile. I can do this mile and a half. I might walk a little bit, but the community is what keeps me going.
Absolutely. And there are tons of run clubs all across the country, right? But no one's tracking the impact. Yeah. They're having significant impact. They're saving the healthcare system millions of dollars. Every person that they help lose weight, get off medication, whatever it may be, they're saving people money, but no one has the data. And that's kind of part of what we're trying to bring to everyone, is like a universal tracking system to help these clubs get funding, because now they're validating it through our data, the impact that they're having. And then these institutions that are benefiting from it can make sure that these clubs sustain. Yeah. At least get the founders paid with, salary, because they're saving way more than $100,000 a year, which is what a salary should be for someone like what they're doing, like in Atlanta or North Carolina, things like that.
Yeah. And so you talked a lot about the app and the tracking of the app. So is it all like manual tracking, or is it incorporated into Apple Watches? Is it incorporated into wearables?
Yes, we have several integrations: Fitbit, Garmin, Apple Health, Google Fit, Samsung Health. Pretty much any fitness tracker that's available, we can integrate with it. So you don't even necessarily have to open our apps for the majority of your tracking. But every month we do ask users to update their scores or update their answers in certain categories that require survey questions, right? So like the mental well-being section, right? We're going to ask you about 12 questions every month to just kind of assess where you are there. And you do have to open the app and do that manually. Okay. Eventually, I think everything will be tracked kind of automatically through some form of wearable. And that'll be when the score is the most precise, because, obviously we're not always honest with ourselves about how we feel.
It's true.
You're not going to be honest with the app all the time, because maybe you think someone's watching. And by the way, no, this is you and your score, right? And you can get your score to whatever you want it to be. And only if you want help and support from one of our health navigators do we really have a conversation about your score, take a look at your score. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So can you talk to me a little bit about why or how beneficial it is to incorporate to merge health and technology?
Yeah, I mean, I think it ultimately comes down to measuring, right? Again, we can't improve health in the Black community off vibes. Right? Like we have to know that we're improving, because some interventions aren't as effective as others, and we need to know that so that we can continue to invest in the ones that are effective and maybe modify the ones that aren't. Also, to be responsive to the community needs, right? And sure, we can do conversations and kind of town hall setups with communities. But if we see that the average the average mental well-being score went down in the community, right, before they even told us about it, right, or they could just do it interfacing with tech, we get more data that way. And then we can roll out interventions, again, that are responsive to that. So ultimately, it just comes down to like being able to know that we're executing on our goals, instead of just kind of feeling like we are, or waiting months, years for the data to come out. Because that's another thing that we address, is like our data is real time. So we're seeing trends day to day, week to week, month over month on a collective level, as opposed to waiting through 6 months for the survey to come back. We can be a little more proactive about the impact.
Yeah. And so one of my favorite questions to ask founders is, what was the moment that made you say, hey, I want to build this app?
So it was actually a text message from my aunt.
Really? Okay.
So it was during the COVID-19 pandemic. She had texted me. She's a PA, and she said, "Hey nephew, I think it'd be a great time for you to, kick off your healthy eating initiative again." So I'm the vegan in the family, and so that's just kind of what she thought would be a good thing for me. And that's when I started working on Bear Health. My first thought was that I don't think we know how bad we're doing
Okay.
as it relates to our health in the Black community, and so much to tell us. And I'm a big believer in, if you see a problem and you got a problem with it, then you should bring a solution, right? Instead of just complaining about it or talking about people. So that's really that was the seed of what is now Bear Health. It's kind of crazy that I just a text message from my aunt, but I'm glad she sent it to me.
It's amazing. Yeah, the seed that bears fruit. Get it?
Yeah, we love puns.
That was good, wasn't it?
We love puns.
And the other thing I wanted to ask is, when things get hard, especially as having a startup, what's the thing that keeps you going?
Keeps me going. I mean, when things get hard, I just dream bigger so I can have more energy to work harder. And at the end of the day, when it comes to success, like, you just got to do the work. You know what activities lead to the outcomes that you need to do. It's just a matter of, like, can you sustain the motivation and discipline to keep taking action, especially when it's hard. So like I've gone down a few times, right? We've had challenges a few times, and each time we come out of it stronger. And so now when challenges do come, it's almost like I welcome it, because I know there's something greater on the other side based on my experience so far. I'm not saying that every time we go down that it's gonna, be up after that, but so far so good. And yeah, it's just like you learn more, and then we've been fortunate to make measurable progress along the way in the first 2.5 years that we've been doing this. And so I haven't, sure, we've run out of money from time to time, and that just happens, especially early stage companies, when you're still dependent on external funding. But there's never really been a moment where, like, this doesn't seem like it's working. People aren't engaging with it. Like, we've never really had that experience. And so that's been a blessing, and a good indication that this is something that people want, that we should continue to build.
Absolutely. And what's one healthy habit you have that you swear by, no matter what's going on? Fasting, really?
Yeah, fasting and sleep.
Okay.
I know I gave you two, but
That's good.
Those are, I would say, probably the two most important practices for adults. So fasting is the most powerful thing that you can do to extend your lifespan. So our bodies are constantly in a fed state in America because we're always eating. And when you're in the fed state, your body is working, like doing its job, using the energy that you took in to do all, intents and purposes of the body. But when you're in the fasted state, your body focuses on resting and repair. And so our bodies are constantly, again, in overdrive. And just like any other tool or system, like a car, when it's always in overdrive, it's going to wear and tear sooner. And so Black bodies right now are aging fast. Our bodies are basically getting older faster. It's not that we're suddenly dying from heart disease and things like that in our 50s. All of a sudden, our bodies are just getting older faster, and then ultimately really shorter lives, because our bodies can only go that fast for so long. And so while you may be 54 years old chronologically, you may have the heart of a 75-year-old and suddenly have a heart attack. But fortunately, you can slow, stop, and reverse that at any age. And that's ultimately what the goal of our company is, to help people identify ways to, again, reverse their conditions. Several people on our app, and we've just been out for a year, have come down or off their medications just from walking.
Wow.
Last year, 5 people did 1 million steps in 30 days, like 15 miles of walking per day.
Yeah.
30,000 steps per day.
And weren't you one of those people?
I was one of those.
Go ahead and tell me about it.
So last year, me and 5 users did 1 million steps in a month.
Wow.
Right. So that was, again, like 15 miles a day, 30,000 steps a day. Most of the users lost 20 to 30 pounds in that month. One of them came off their blood pressure medication. Been off since. It's been a year now. And then we all got to talking about what the world record was, and if any of us could go after the world record. And so for April this year, I decided to go after it. So I did 2,007,178 steps.
That's amazing.
30 days. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So I'm standing here with a world record holder.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, no, it was an incredible experience, and just a reminder also, like, you got to keep going. There are no breaks, especially when you're giving birth to something like a startup. And every day is hard.
Yeah.
Every day is hard. And even that challenge, I had no margin for error. I'm not saying you don't have margin for error in a startup, but if you can avoid it, then avoid it. And yeah, that was just an incredible challenge. And it's been good for the brand, raise a lot of awareness as we prepare for our official launch. Because we've been on our beta app for the past 1.5 years, and now we're migrating over to our official app in October. And yeah, just really excited for it, and just trying to, make as much noise as possible ahead of that so that we can impact as many lives as possible.
Absolutely. And we're excited for you as well.
Appreciate it.
Well, I want to thank you so much for joining me on this episode of The Pulse. You shared so much great information, and we wish you all the best and the most success with your app.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. We'll see you guys next time on The Pulse.